be back in the crowd, with the stage. It's Dota 2 Reborn here today. Anyway, congratulations everybody. Our teams are going to be going to the arena right now. You are ready to see this. The best in the world of Dota 2. It's going to be the best Dota we've seen here all week. It's going to be almost the best we've seen maybe the whole year since 27 months, because what's really better, there's nothing that can top Dota with a crowd on a stage. Dota 2. So happy to be back. Let's get ready. It's grand final time here for the Stockholm main.
You love it, you wear it. What's your style? Get your merch at shop.eslgaming.com. You love it, you wear it. What's your style? Get your merch at shop.eslgaming.com.
Catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror and I go like
gentlemen, welcome to the grand finals of the ESL Stockholm Major. That is right, my beautiful crowd. This is the one to remember, my friends. Now, everybody at home, they are asking themselves, they are wishing, begging that they could have been here. And I want them to feel the experience now. Please, Stockholm, give me everything you got. Are you ready for the grand finals? Woo! We are back, baby. Fantastic. We are about to get underway for the greatest Dota that you have seen this season yet. But before that, let's take a look at this beautiful piece.
At this point, we don't really care who we meet in the finals, because I mean, we already beat everybody, so like, yeah, we don't care. We're super confident that we can beat anyone. I think the atmosphere in our team is excellent, and we play pretty good, so I think we're very confident.
Thinking, has his ultimate available, but Saberlight with the black hole, and the death onto 2. Beautifully done from TSM, as they are looking to go to the grand final.
When we lost to TSM in the playoffs, we learned a lot from those games. So the version that TSM will be facing will be much different than the first one.
Duraccio up on the high ground. What else are they looking for? Oh, the big avalanche after the shackle. Do they have enough damage to bring down the monkey? They do! And just like that, they turn it again.
At this point, there's no stopping us.
In the black hole again, this time on the 2. Saberlight is everywhere.
When I play against these teams, it often feels like they're playing kind of slow. Then we're just like smashing one team after the other.
Their strength is that they actually play more together than a lot of the teams here. But I don't think that will be enough for them. They need to play better as well.
Spotted out. There's a Blade Fury from Skeeter. Wukong's Commando, Yuragi, OG are here in numbers.
Of course, we're prepared to beat them.
We're winning this entire thing. You guys have no chance.
Alrighty, folks, the time has come. Please put your hands together for the last hope of North America in this NAEU Grand Finals. You know them, you love them. Will OG beat them? Never, ever bring them out! TSM! Underdogs coming to claim it all, and this team's done it so many times. And now, can anyone stop them? We're about to find out. Bring me out OG!
of us between two teams that have already faced each other way back. But both of them say, different teams. OG is saying, we've learned a lot since then, Jenkins. What have they learned?
They've learned a lot. I mean, it's hard to break down because what they're doing is so crazy. Like, it doesn't look like anything else that we've seen, which I feel like is a staple of OG, right? You look at this team and it's like they're completely breaking Dota. It started with Thompson, now it's these new guys. You got a motherfucker going Midas on offlane Razor. They really like his real name. Moonshard in the quick buy. I mean, these guys are crazy. If I could break it down, I'd be up there. I'd be playing against them.
I mean, they were literally tweeting at each other that they're going to beat each other. They in the interview say polite, like no one's going to beat them. So there's going to be spicy tips, going to be spicy all chat. This is going to be an intense best of 5.
And the craziest thing too is that they've got that OG winning spirit on the draft as well. No Tail's coaching them. Seb is there. That is the thing that's so good about them historically in their tournaments. They learn, they get better, and they're going to be able to use that to potentially outdraft TSM. It's going to be tough.
Yep, and of course, the original OG, Moon Meander, was actually on that OG. He did the same thing going from lower bracket. He has some of that fire as well, T.
And it's good because Moon Meander actually, in his pubs, today at least, he's been playing some of the Windrunners and Enigmas. Look at him!
Yeah!
Like, he needs to, he's realized that in a best of 5 grand finals against OG, you need to be able to play some of the best heroes that they got. He's preparing for that Enigma pause 4 potentially, stealing away that Seb Windrunner. He's getting him in.
We got some TSM sticker out right now. All right, okay.
I will say, both of these teams, all this energy in this arena right now, they'll take it and they'll implement it in their game, right, Purge?
They definitely should, and they probably will. I mean, already these are players that are crowd interacting before the match. They're getting set up. Everything has to be perfect, and they're amping everyone up. It's so good to be here.
It is incredibly good to be here. I do want to talk a little bit about the nitty-gritty Dota stuff, because that's also why we're here. We want to see some top-tier Dota to be played, and it starts with the draft. And yesterday, when we asked Crit about what would you do about this Wind Ranger, and he's like, well, you gotta choose your poison. There's a couple ones, because it's not just Wind Ranger T. You've also got the Razor, the Timbersaw. Who are you gonna
The
ban?
Monkey King
The
now.
Monkey King, yeah.
Well, that's the thing, right? There's potential scenarios where you can give away the Timbersaw, but you pick the Monkey King yourself. That allows you to ban out the Windrunner. I think this will be the true tell. Game 1, how do they approach it? There's pretty much like 4 or 5 heroes that you need to think about. You can only ban 2, and then you have to try and play for the other 3. So this is, I just decided for the draft in Game 1.
I mean, on the flip side, you now have to worry about an Enigma coming out from TSM. That looked insane. Yep. You've got, the Dubu Enchantress. You've got the TA, which has looked really good when Tomato's been playing it. Like, a lot of these heroes are decently popular among teams, but we're not talking about the Pugnas and the Storms and these common openings that we saw for the entire tournament. Like, both of these teams have such a deep hero pool that you need to ban out, that it feels like it's just not going to happen. We're going to get to see a clash of the best heroes from both of these teams.
Yep. I think maybe the only hero that TSM's using right now that looks really good for them.
That's a good sign. I like that one.
The one that OG isn't picking is probably Doombringer. And so a lot of their series, they were picking it in their opener. Some teams, they skipped it as well, but that could be a hero that they try to use to exploit to take down OG in some teamfight advantages.
Yeah, and don't forget that Yuragi, he's got the biggest hero pool of the tournament so far. I think it's like 16 heroes and, however many matches. It's disgustingly big, and that a deep pool of heroes, especially when you get to later portions of the draft, it could potentially surprise TSM when you're starting to pick up heroes that you haven't even played in the entire major yet.
So when we're looking at this series, is there anything in particular that you're going to look out for, Jenkins, in terms of player matchups? Because we have seen quite a few games where very early on in the game we have a 3v3 in the mid lane happening, so that is a little bit of spice. Any matchup in particular you are hyped for?
I do think both of these teams really value going for runes, so I think we will see the 3v3 in the mid lane. Of course, TSM coming from the NA region, they're constantly playing against Quinn from Quincy Crew, who, if he stands on a rune, it spawns there. So they're used to basically sending their supports to that lane, and they just played with him. So of course that's going to be some influence there. So yeah. I think mid lane, I think any lane Amar is in, I think that's a guy you need to look to shut down and potentially abuse, maybe get some Batrider versus the Timbersaw action, something like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Game 1 of this best of 5 OG and TSM draft has begun. So let's see what these two teams have in store for each other.
Hero is usually the one that goes the longest.
The counters to Enigma, the traditional counters, they're not that good.
No.
What are you gonna pick? Silencer? Like,
Winter Wyvern's not so hot.
not so hot. Like, you're gonna
Warlock,
have
you didn't even mention it.
Warlock is not. I mean, that's
Not a hero.
Not a hero.
That's not a hero. So, I mean, we'll see. It is OG. This is the team that, you know, Windrunner was also not a hero prior to this event, and now it's, you know, first phase, so.
Only for one team, though.
Only for, I mean, they
For
made
now.
it to the grand
For now.
finals. I see the numbers going up in pubs, so there's a lot of pub running going on out there. Thanks for that, by the way, Seb.
All right, they get some nice AoE, which can set them up against the Enigma, all prior to Blink or BKB, while giving them a good lane. And then their second hero, what will it be?
I mean, the thing for OG here is the second pick, right? So this Kun could be flicked between mid and carry. This Enigma for TSM, we've just shown that Moon has been practicing it on the 4, so it's a 4-3 flex, but it's going to be primarily in that lane. If Kun is in safe lane, poof, clear up the Eidolons, you don't care, right?
I was thinking this is probably more than likely a Uragi Kunga, just to clear the Eidolons.
And there it is. Unbeaten, undefeated hero in the hands of Seb.
The value of Windranger right now is certainly the shard, and what they do with it is when they invade their opponents, normally when your smoke breaks, you're like, boy, I hope I have a blink dagger so I can initiate, but now they're just like, oh, I'll just counteract all of your movement for 6 seconds in a giant AoE, and that almost always guarantees them getting at least one pick off.
Yeah, the interesting thing about that ability is that whenever a fight starts, it just takes all of the backliners that would normally be safe, that are in good positions, and pulls them into a horrible position with the frontliners. So these Grimstrokes and Lions and squishy supports are just feeding. They're just getting mopped up in the fights.
It's almost like they're solving their need to dive the backline with a 5-position hero and a 1400 gold shard. That's insane value. You don't have to pick Storm Spirits, Void Spirits, whatever. You just push them out of position, you win your fight.
Yeah, TSM response though, overwhelming team fight now. We mentioned how at Mages, at LAN, you want to have the big spells, because when you get the nerves kicking in, having that insurance policy of the Rolling Thunder or Black Hole, it is going to be that security policy. So they're going to be pretty happy. You know, Brow, especially on this Pangolier, he's been popping off one of the best Pangoliers at the event so far.
And they ban out the puck, a nice counter against the Pango, so that should allow him to play a much better game. If he had to deal with like Dream Coil and X combo afterwards, that would be really scary for him.
Yeah, before the series earlier where OG played Bloodseeker offlane, I'd argue TSM could have avoided banning it, but because that they've shown it in the offlane, I think maybe they might look towards that hero as well.
That sounds pretty good. Back to your theory about team fighting, I also think like naturally in very stressful environments, think about the pressure that's going to be on you if you're, you know, in the first LAN in 2.5 years on the stage in the grand finals. Like, you feel this immense pressure, and what do you do when you feel pressure and anxiety? It's like you go to your teammates, right? Yeah. And if you're going to run at your teammates, that's where the team fighters are massively powerful compared to these pickoff heroes, because everybody's 5-manning.
There's always a chance of a comeback as well. It will always have you give that hope in the back of your mind. Like, don't worry, even if you're down, one good Ravage is all it takes to come back.
Yeah, this is the 50-50 hero.
Yep, absolutely.
They continue to ban out some of Mamar's heroes, with the Viper getting banned here. He seems like the player of the tournament to me in terms of his ability to just always win the lane in a huge way, and then find these moments where it kind of looks ambiguous about who should go fight, and he just starts charging in. And just that initial being ahead of everyone else in the game moment gives them the ability to get kills, take towers, take objectives. So I just feel like you do have to keep banning his heroes. He wins lanes, and he just leads his team into victories.
Yeah, he like directs the game if he wins his lanes, and he tends to win the lane because he has 1,000 games on all of these heroes that he likes to play.
But the key thing here for TSM at least is when Amar doesn't win his lane, his ability to then come back into the game isn't like other offlaners, it's mode farm. Get the Midas, get that space farm. AFK on one side of the map, you might kill him a couple of times, but he wants to get to his item timings. So if TSM punish him there, then they have a big window to start punishing the fact that
his team is ready. OG though, this iteration of OG seems very good at enabling that though.
Because like Uragi's sacrificial in the
Uragi can play sacrificial,
like if Mar's having a tough time, Uragi's the one TPing mid on some CK, punching the mid lane with, and then just going from there.
Yeah.
They're taking a little bit of time now. Are there any of the usual suspects other than the Bloodseeker still in the pool that we should be keeping on our radar here?
I mean, the Cuddle is going to provide really good counter pressure against towers, and then Enchantress is really good at setting tempo and taking towers as well. So maybe OG a little bit worried about things that are going to accelerate or slow down the game in extreme ways.
Maybe Tidehunter. I'm thinking about Amar heroes. He's usually plays the same things. He's got his favorites. There's do we still have, is Mars still in the pool?
Mars is also
Mars
still
in the pool.
Yep.
All right. I mean, it's not so good against Pango, but neither is Tidehunter. You know, both of those heroes don't like the match community that Pango brings and the, you know, constant stunning. Like Tidehunter can't crack and shell that off, but still, it's overwhelming team fight versus overwhelming team fight. A Tide would be fun at least for us.
Yeah, still Slardar too, but not looking the best right now.
I think for TSM, you could easily go for like a Treant style 5 and just kind of keep the lanes pushed out, just AFK, get your items, and then you can win the game. Because for OG, they're the team that at minute 7, they're happy to go as 5. So you either have overwhelming fight for the minute 7, or you just keep the towers alive so when they start skirmishing and coming, that you're already ready to kind of repel them. Maybe
that's the plan. You win the game before Windranger can buy the shard physically.
That's so smart. That makes a lot of sense.
Unless they like double Roche really fast so they can get it.
I think
it's Shadow Shaman, right?
Yeah.
Drafting your entire team to beat a 15-minute timing for a 5 position is definitely really solid gameplay.
It doesn't feel good.
They will go for the Rubik. It will allow them to steal the black hole. It's, will be definitely a crowd favorite game here with a lot of plays.
So Taiga still gets to play Enigma. That's
yep, he still does. They ended up banning out the Bane in the last phase there, of course, TSM. They haven't shown yet where they're going to put that Enigma, but Moonmeander and Dubu, both, especially Dubu, both good Bane players, of course.
The nice thing about being able to flex the Enigma is that they can pick it first phase, and then they can still expend all of their bans for like non-Enigma counters. Because if you have a 5-position Enigma or a 4-position Enigma, and you just hold one guy, and you don't get it stolen because it's in a skirmish, not a team fight, it doesn't matter as much.
They go back for one of the patch favorites, the Pugna, for some damage reduction here. It looks actually pretty good because OG is pretty spell damage based at the moment. And then Wraith King, in terms of laning stage, he's pretty happy too. It'll be fine, and he's going to be happy to jump that backline and kill Rubik.
Yeah, especially when you have heroes like Enigma and Pangolier, you need heroes to go in first for you. So in that mid game, Wraith King will be the one that will be entering the fight, getting the vision, understanding where heroes are located, so that Saberlight is able to get those good black holes off.
Yeah, this will be their first Wraith King that TSM...
He's been trying for like 3 days.
Oh my god.
There's the Amar Underlord.
And now, because you picked your Wraith King early, you get this Underlord response, and Wraith King really kind of hates playing into Underlord. Just skeletons never really get to hit the tower.
This lane sucks, yeah.
Underlord just free farms.
Well, it's like the skeletons respawn, and then you get more damage for killing them a second time. Yeah, this is a free farming Underlord sort of game right now. There's not really much to counter him here.
At least the lane looks fine for both of them. I don't really feel like either's going to get a huge amount of kills necessarily, so that can be some of the weaknesses when you pick Pugna, is that your carry sometimes struggles because you don't really have a good ability to get kills, you don't really have a good ability to defend yourselves other than Nether Wards, so I think both teams will be okay with TSM safe lane and OG's off lane.
You know, for TSM, Bryal has not played it in a long time, but I do remember during a lot of the tours of DPC when Bat was really strong, he was playing it at that point. It looks like a really good Bat game. It destroys Kunkka and the Underlord as in the core-to-core matchup, or, you know, Leshrac is like a, you know, a scuffed version of Bat Rider. It's the same thing. It's like these heroes have physical tankiness, but you just cannot take the magic damage.
TSM don't have overall last pick in the draft, so to do this, they're then flexing the Pangolier to like off lane, Enigma 4, picking their mid.
That's what I was thinking, yeah, that's what I think they should do.
This, shout out to the one guy that hates me saying this word, this casual Kunkka pick that is being flexed to the very end of the draft, it's gonna hinder TSM a little bit.
For sure, they removed the BZM Invoker first of all.
10 seconds. Would have been pretty solid mana drain against Wraith King. Can get you a couple of easy kills. It's easier to pick and choose fights. You can chain disable Pango to stop him from rolling if you initiate first, and until Enigma gets BKB2, he's also going to have to be careful when he tries to go in. So I think it would have been a really good hero.
You probably Void Spirit as well, if for OG at least, for mid lane. A hero that can just quickly cut to the back line. I think it's a great matchup against Pugna. You can never really stand still and kind of decrep and, you know, life drain.
They still end up removing the Shadow Shaman, just in case they were thinking of ending early with a lot of Roshans. Who knows? But there's of course a lot of flex on the side of TSM.
10 seconds remaining.
And they are respecting it.
It would have definitely accelerated the game a lot more in terms of killing towers, because right now they've got Eidolons and they've got Pugna a little bit, but they don't have the best tower hitters in the early game before they get BKBs, because OG's just going to be landing boat combos, landing Firestorm, pulling them back into the Firestorm and the Pit of Malice again. It just feels like it's going to be difficult for TSM to commit to killing towers.
Using all of the reserve time in the last ban. It's tough because you don't know what's mid or what's carry.
Yeah, it's so difficult for TSM.
They're gonna run out of time as well. One other mid-hero to be banned, most likely. Of course, again, Kunkka being a little bit flexed, but we are still expecting it to be played by Yuragi, right?
I assume so, yeah. I mean, they picked it right away in response to the Enigma, but Bat Rider would have been pretty powerful too. Pugna can't really stop him from killing him or his friends other than by reducing damage, and could have been scary for Pango. Definitely Enigma has to worry about that if he wants to defend himself. He's got a black hole in a lot of cases. And there's that ban against TSM that did sneak out often in some of their first phases. No Doom here.
No Doom here. There's the Death Prophet. That is still a lot of extra pressure coming out for those towers. So if you look to set a high tempo with that,
yeah, but they're also keeping it a little bit ambiguous, right? This Death Prophet, we've seen it have much more success in the mid lane, but still easily could be in a different role. And now Pango, Enigma, and DP all kind of up in the air.
Yep.
So this last pick value from OG, it kind of goes down a little bit. I would probably argue you want Kunkka now maybe in that carry role, and then you pick up a different mid lane to deal with DP.
Yeah.
I like that hero so much. I mean, with BKB or Yules, he protects himself against a lot of the disables that are really annoying out of the OG side. Shackle Shot's still a problem, obviously, but he's going to do percentage-based damage that heals him against an Underlord and against a Kunkka. And until Wraithback comes out, they're not really reducing that.
there's a Lina at the end of it all.
That's a solid pick. I was looking at BZM's hero pool from the major so far, and none of them would do well against this potential mid DP. But a casual Lina, you put in the mid lane, you can easily scale to be a carry. You get quick BKB, you can take the fight, you can actually defend the sieges when DP hits 6. It's going to work out.
Yeah, for a long time I remember Lina was considered to be like the DP counter because she's one of the few heroes that you can actually burst the DP after she's ulted or before she's ulted. Because with DP, it's like if you let her survive for more than 2 seconds, she just heals the full HP and then kills your entire team. And so you need to burst her.
And it's a rare mid hero that can bring carry potential, so it allows them to put the Kunkka against the Enigma like they wanted to kill the Eidolons, and they still get a normal mid hero, and they're going to have enough carry potential.
Aiming against Enigma feels horrible. You just
Five seconds remaining. Radiant's turn to ban. The Dire get a ban.
Pressure and match to the pace that OG's been taking over the games against some of the previous teams.
Felt like it's something they needed at the end of the draft there. No ways to really take buildings, no way to take objectives easily, so cleaning it up with that pick for Saberblade at the end, looks like it could be pretty good. Lots of skirmishing I think is going to be going on in this game. The picks, faster cooldowns than usual on the side of OG, not really relying on any of those long durations, while TSM a little more focused on that big team fight that could come out later on.
Here we go as we get ourselves into the action. Already TSM FTX starting things off with a smoke.
And a nice little tip, of course, good luck, friendos. It's a very friendly bout right here. A lot of trash talk was going on the Twitter and whatnot between them, but it's friendly bans.
Now, one of the reasons why it's going to be so much fun seeing these two teams face off against each other in the grand finals. We've heard the confidence in-game and out-game from their players. Both teams absolutely with the belief that they have what it takes to become the champion.
Very.
Dire's turn to pick. 10 seconds. 5 seconds remaining. Dire's turn to pick. Admiral Konka.
Пока Конка появляется на 2 позиции.
10 seconds.
Look pretty good for OG.
And we'll see how well Bryle can do at the start, where he's never too much fun being a melee hero against Alina, especially when it's in the hands of a strong player such as BZM. But Bryle, he has been popping off on his Pango before.
Not a traditional hero for BZM though.
No, for sure. A bit of a change up towards the end. I mean, OG must have seen sort of the strength that this hero can have sort of in the overall game. But what do you sort of feel that Lina does offer as the hero in this sort of draft that OG's running?
They had to have something that's going to be able to burst the DP, and if they did put the Death Prophet in mid, have that good lane. Of course, TSM, they did switch things up, making sure that the Pango is going to be mid, throwing Saberlight top. It's going to be this advantageous matchup for BZM, and he's going to just always be able to burst DP, and I think just like Panel was saying, secondary, third type of core that OG tends to go for. So it doesn't matter if one person gets black holed, if they focus on the Kunkka, he'll be able to provide some damage as well.
See down bottom, some good harassment here thrown in the way of Tiger. Over, of course, on the other side of the map, Moon. He's going to head towards the jungle. Is this top lane sort of an area where Saberlight is going to feel pretty safe in on his own, or could he be a threat of dying?
I think he could definitely be a threat of dying. Torrent connects, they have enough chase and control to be able to get him if he does step up too far. It's a bit of a speedy hero, of course, the Death Prophet, but yeah, just that much chain stun. Tons of damage between these two as well. I think this is the right choice, though. I think Moon, like we were mentioning, has to be very careful. Doesn't want to be feeding Eidolons to that Kunkka.
Absolutely. In OG, they do have that good vision around near the tower, so they'll have a clear read of when, you know, Saberlight is a little far out from the tower and away from any potential backup coming in to help him. So he's got to be careful. So far in the mid lane, 12 for 1 on Bryle.
He's doing great. He's got his bottle already finished up, so he'll get water runes. He'll be able to sustain through the spam. And bottom, they're doing an excellent job of just really spamming their abilities. Like, look at Tomato and Dubu. Completely out of mana to try to pressure OG. Taiga and Amar do have full mana, though, and quite a bit of regen built up.
And this is sort of a lane where, you know, at what point does the Underlord become a bit too much for the Wraith King to farm into, would you feel?
I think it starts getting a bit harder at level 3. Yep. They have the double, you know, level 2 Fade Bolt plus the level 2 Firestorm, or if he does get attributes, it can make Tomato have a bit more difficulty. But so far, I mean, Dubu doing an excellent job. We saw, of course, there the consumables that were spent, bringing tons of regen and mangoes.
Top lane, a little bit of a setup here, but Saberlight's got the 2 points to the Cypher, so a good amount of heal coming out as he's able to back off.
He's going to be impacted by this. You see already his last hit 7-1 because Moon is jungling, but this does feel like the right move for Moon Meander at the moment. Even taking bounty runes, denying them away from OG since he's playing in the into the enemy jungle.
Absolutely. I mean, you can see on the CS, sure, it's not lane creeps, but, you know, neutral-wise, the amount that Moon's getting, it's a good amount. This is going to be a solid start for Moon to get some good early items online on the Enigma.
And it's always really important when you see up top Saberlight. He has a double creep wave pushing into him, so now he's going to catch up on those last hits very nicely. So far, so good for TSM in this laning phase. And the Pango not beating Alina, but coming out even versus Alina is pretty significant. Also, definitely have to point out that they did block the small camp, OG's small camp that is, so Alina won't have that to be able to accelerate her farm, while Bryle does.
And we'll see over in the jungle, of course, Seb, he's headed over to try and push Moon away from this point that he's been taking away quite a lot of the camps with. Here's Courier also taken out here, Seb. Has to be a little careful, of course. Whilst he does have the Wim run outside of that, the damage from the Eidolons does add up against him.
Checking runes. Bryle will be able to get the top one. Can he get the shackles? They can.
The setup. They've got enough mana for the Light Strike Array. Has Bryle got anything to get out? They've still got a Fairy Fire and a Water Rune, so he should be fine here. In fact, he's thinking about turning. He's going to jump back in. He still has a Fairy Fire if he gets
what a play.
There it is. Bryle gets first blood, the Fairy Fire as well, allowing him to walk this one off. Excellently done that. I mean, saving that Fairy Fire at the last moment as well. Really trying to sell OG on the idea that they could get him, but at the end of the day, they could not. He gets first blood and he gets out.
BZM just did not have enough mana by any means. Did use the stun instead of using the nuke, so Bryle will be able to play around that one. Very nicely done. That is the dream. A Pango doing this well versus Alina getting a first blood. He's going to be off to a corrosion. So having this type of early advantage as a Pango versus Alina also is going to be impactful later on because he's going to be able to get on top of her easier. It's going to be a lot tankier. So very important for TSM FTX that this is happening right now.
Yeah, very impressive. Laning here from Brawl in the first 5 minutes. Over in the jungle, they will try and do something about Moon, and with that sort of setup, they'll definitely take him out. BZM is able to swing across, he'll get the benefit of the kill. I mean, but Moon knows, when he's in this area, eventually he's going to get taken out. And it does take quite a bit of focus where you have 3 heroes from OG moving over to get rid of the Enigma.
Even putting a ward down, right? Like Seb just keeping tabs on him, putting the ward too. Things.
Dire's turn to pick.
He's focused. They're trying to draft heroes that would be able to burst him. If he gets a good start,
look at mid.
Hard to 100 to 0. In the mid, they'll hold back Brawl with the Light Strike Array BZM. Thanks to you can't lead in with the Rolling Thunder. And a good job as well that Brawl was able to get that connection. Highly likely that the two of them would be able to run down the Lina.
It's pressure on 2 fronts. Now